One of the most powerful things in your life, one of the most powerful things that you can have as a trait is your ability to handle pressure. How good are you at handling pressure? Your success will be based on the ability for you to handle stress, handle pressure, your stress management. And that's the one thing that you can see. The one common denominator of all successful people is that they have the ability to handle stress. They handle stress at the highest of levels. Think about it. Think about why you're earning the amount of money that you're earning right now is because you're only able to solve certain levels of problems. Think about a boss. A boss is handling all kinds of problems in the business. All kinds of problems. People are coming to them, asking them questions, issues, resolving problems, solutions. All kinds of things are happening that boss is taking responsibility of. So your ability to handle stress will determine the amount of money that you make. You cannot achieve great levels of success without having stress. And that's one of the most crucial factors, is for you to put yourself in positions of difficult times, of adversity, and force yourself in those situations so that you level up, so that you build that resiliency. And that's what I knew early on when I was developing myself as a public speaker, as someone in the personal development industry. I knew I had to put myself in difficult situations, put myself in rooms with people I didn't know, I knew nothing about, they didn't know me, and speak to them and give them a speech. I would speak for 5 to 10 minutes, giving them a speech on inspiration, motivation, on overcoming themselves, on what I learned through my journey of public speaking, of being completely terrified in a room of 10 people, to barely introduce myself, to now speaking on stages with 40 to 100 people I don't even know, and speaking for 2 hours and not even being phased. It's just normal now. And that only came from me going through difficult situations, me putting myself in the fire, in the adversity, and forcing myself to have to figure it out in those moments. Those moments are hard. They're tough, yes. But if you want to be great in this life, you're going to have to be tough. You're going to have to be strong. You're going to have to develop yourself through those moments of adversity, through that discomfort, through those hard times. It's not going to come from the comfort. It's not going to come from the pleasure. You are not going to grow in those moments of comfort, those moments of pleasure. But yes, they are necessary after you've put in the work. I'm not saying live a life of no comfort or no pleasure, but it should be like 90-10. And the majority of the time, you should be putting yourself in difficult situations. And over time, you will actually enjoy those situations because you will start to associate progression with pain, with difficulty. You realize that you're growing through it. It's an amazing feeling. And then you will associate pleasure with regression, with comfort, with staying still or dying. Because the truth is, no one's staying still. Nothing in this universe is staying still. Everything moves, everything vibrates. Everything, that's one of the laws of the universe, the law of vibration. Everything is energy. If not in one state, in another. It's all different forms of energy. So when you realize that everything that you see is in a rapid rate of vibration, you realize it's either growing or dying. It's not staying the same. Why do you think a body in a coffin turns to dust? Why do you think an apple rots? Why do you think food goes bad? Well, why do you think that if you don't work out a muscle, it's going to deteriorate? That's because everything is in a state of growth or disintegration. Create or disintegrate. Grow or die. So back to what I was saying, you cannot stay still. So you must be moving towards your goal or away from it. So learn to associate pain, the discomfort, with growth. And when you realize that, it makes you feel more worthy. It makes the work that you're doing more worthy, because you know it's not for nothing. You know it's actually building you. And that's the most beautiful thing in this life. The mentally weak complain without suffering. The mentally strong suffer without complaining. The mentally weak are focused on appearing and acquiring. The mentally strong are focused on being and becoming. It's not about appearing and acquiring. You see tons of people on social media, on Instagram, that appear that their life is amazing, but little do you know they ended up breaking up with their girl or guy, and they're actually not as happy as you think. It's so crazy that we fall for these illusions, but when you just raise your awareness to such a level, you start to see through the illusions. You start to realize these things. That's why I preach awareness. Awareness is everything. Knowledge can only get you so far. You have to have awareness, experience, because without it, you can know all the things to do, but when you get in that moment, are you going to do them? Are you going to execute them? And that's the difference. You can know exactly what to do, but are you going to do it? To know and not to do is not to know. So you must do it. That's what it comes down to. I've realized I've sat back, I've meditated, I've done a lot of things that I thought were beneficial, which in a sense they were, but not as beneficial as taking action. Not nearly as beneficial as taking action. Taking action rewires your brain, your mind, for you to actually learn at such a deeper level than just telling someone it. So that's my message to you. Lean into those difficult moments, that adversity, because it's molding you, it's growing you, it's strengthening you. It's actually an amazing thing. And if you can lean into it, you will be much further ahead than the other people that are not leaning into it. Because I pushed myself outside my comfort zone and went and spoke at different groups to people I've never met before, 5 to 7 times a week, all of 2023. I progressed myself in that year more than people that have been in these groups for 10, 15 years. It's because I stepped out and I acted and I had purpose, and it was tough. I was so uncomfortable. I wanted to quit, but I just knew something within me knew I was destined for greater. And I kept pushing through, and the illusions started to separate. And then I started to poke through, and I started to realize, oh, okay, I can actually do this. I can actually speak. And now I can actually speak with conviction, because I'm actually realizing, oh my gosh, I'm not the only one that felt like this, but I'm the only one that pushed through it. And that's the difference. Now go out and act.